How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to Fruit of Grisaia, where we're going on a date. I do not feel prepared for it. I've had a long weekend, and it means that I go a long week, I guess. It was the weekend and extended into the week. Really good stuff going on, by the way. Very exciting, but it also means I haven't had a chance to shave in a little bit. So, I guess I've had chances to, but just haven't taken them. So now I feel all scraggly, but that's okay. I'm not the one going on the date. It's usually going on the date. I don't have to be all spiffed up for anything. So yes, but let's really just dive into this because we're going to be going on a date with Sachi. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be really interesting, but I have a personal, my grievance that's going to happen with this. I'm going to say it as is right now. It's going to bother me. I can probably tell you that because as you might be aware, I immerse myself in these stories very powerfully. I feel like I'm there either as the main character or as an observer who's kind of watching from the sidelines. I can't help it. I'm always immersing myself. This happens when I'm reading books, when I'm watching movies, and naturally part of what visual novels, what makes them so great is it's so easy to feel that immersion. So I'm here, and my big problem here is I'm gonna feel like, okay, we're going on a date with Sachi, as Yuuji, and that's gonna be fun, but because Sachi's nature, even if we're having a good time, how do we know that that's just not just her just playing a role? Is she actually having fun? Even if she says she's having fun, can we trust that? And it kind of undercuts this whole feeling of this, can we actually go on a date when she's probably just checking boxes rather than just doing it because she wants to? I think deep down she wants to. I think she genuinely does, but how do we separate the real Sachi from the following order Sachi? And that's what Yuji's trying to do. And so I imagine it's going to make this just really frustrating because he's probably going to be battling that same thing. So I'm quite sure this is going to be a bittersweet experience if nothing else. But anyway, let's go have fun. Ready? Let's get started. I do apologize for keeping you waiting. No, that's... maid uniform after all, huh? I genuinely thought there was going to be a different outfit.
メイド服はメイド服でも、これは最近購入した外出用のおしゃれ着でして、胸元の赤いリボンもより色鮮やかに。
Okay, I get it. Actually, I can't see any difference whatsoever, but I suppose I'll have to take the maid's expert word on this one. Right then. As for the plan, we decided this pretty suddenly, so I have absolutely nothing.
やっぱりそうですよね。
So for today, I thought we could do whatever you feel like, Sachi.
私がやりたいことですか?
That's right. Even if it's cleaning the dorm or bayonet drills, I'm up for it. Whatever you feel like is fine.
そうですね。
Sachi places a hand on her cheek, scrunches her eyes, and begins to think the matter over. Yeah, I imagine this is a really tough workout for her, but it's actually a good idea. Yeah. If nothing's coming to mind, you can say so.
すみません。私やっぱり自分から案を出すのは苦手みたいで。
Yeah, that's not too surprising. Come to think of it, you told me the same thing back when I transferred in.
はい。
When she was a kid, Sachi used to constantly invent new games and drag me into them. It's probably safe to say this is another area of her personality strongly influenced by the trauma that accident inflicted on her.
なので今日はゆうくんが普段していることを一緒にするというのはいかがでしょうか?
Okay. My typical activities basically come down to training and reading. Might be a bit of a stretch to call that a date, don't you think?
それは大丈夫です。どんな内容でも私とゆうくんがデートだと思えばそれはもう立派なデートです。
Those might be the wisest words I've ever heard in a visual novel. It doesn't have to be traditional. As long as the two of you are content with it being a date, it's a date. That's why I think the best dates I've ever been on in my entire life have always been ones where we're just doing stuff. Maybe it's stuff we normally do, but it's stuff that we do because we like it. And we're just saying specifically, hey, let's set aside time so that you and I can go and do this thing we like. And that's a date. Easily. The biggest thing, though, is you gotta be careful, because I do see this happening a lot with my friends growing. It happened tons in high school, where one of my guy friends would be really interested in a girl and then get her to agree to go do an activity. But it's like a typical activity, but in their mind it became a date, while for her it wasn't, because it was just like a normal hanging out session. And you gotta understand that it's only a date if both of you agree it's a date. If it's a one-sided thing, that's not a date. That's just a delusion, really. A self-indulgence. I see. Thanks to JB and Chizuru's insistent grumblings, I had a pretty fixed image of a date as something like a dinner at an expensive restaurant with the skyline view. That's very cool. Definitely not a date, though. Like, doesn't have to be. But Sachi's absolutely right. The important thing is what the experience means to the people involved, not whether it means some arbitrary social standard. Alright, in that case, why don't we tag along on my training today?
ありがとうございます。
Keep in mind, my training's no joke. This may be a date, but be sure to approach it with the utmost caution.
は、了解したであります。
Alright. She's pretty strong. You ready, Ranger Komine?
はい。運動用のメイド服に着替えてきたであります。
It's the same. 10 minutes later, as Sachi holds her rifle, raid broom, in the classic shoulder pairing position, I bellow my approval. Alright, we're well done. Also, you will respond to any further orders with the immediate hoorah. Is that clear?
レンジャー
Not bad. You squeal a bit better than your average stuck pig. We'll be starting off with a nice easy round of squat jumps. You ready? You know the drill?
以前、インターネット上の動画で確認したことがありますです。
Oh, they say you're always prepared, Komine. It seems they're likely right. Like they're right. If you can't cut as a ranger, you have a bright future selling cookies with the Girl Scouts. In defiance of your shrewdness, I'll permit you a substitute, the regulation 3.5 kilogram rifle for that broom of yours.
は、ありがとうございます、軍曹殿。
What a date. Alright then, your target for this drill is 30 repetitions. I've heard you've been clambering down the schoolhouse walls with those legs. Let's see what they can do.
レンジャー !1、2、3、4
After offering her energetic assent, Sachi shoulders the broom behind her neck, jumps into the air from a low squat, and alternates her legs, her leading foot on the way back down. Jeez, the movement vaguely resembles a well-known Cossack dance, but the need to leap all the way up every time places a severe strain on your lower body. Yeah, it sounds awful. I don't think I could even do like one of these.
15、16、17
As if to demonstrate, Sachi's movements quickly grow sluggish after her 15th repetition. What's the matter, Ranger Komine? Even a bottle blonde twin-tailed pseudo tsundere could struggle through that much. Is that a maid uniform just for show? Get moving.
レンジャー !17、18、19
Oh, I don't like this.
ちょっといい
Hmm? I turn around in response to a tap on my shoulder, only to find Amane standing beside me with an ominous glower on her face. Oh, if it isn't Amane, weren't you making Makina a snack or something?
いや、それはもう終わったから様子を見に来たんだけど、もしかしてこれがデートなの？
That's right. Sachi asked if she could participate in some of my typical activities.
で、軍隊式トレーニングってわけ？
Yeah, incidentally, this constant shouting helps you develop your abdominal muscles. Makes a surprisingly big difference in the result of any exercise routine. In my experience, give it a try if you ever get anxious about your waist.
それはどうも。って私が言いたいのはもっとデートらしいデートをしてあげてもいいんじゃないってこと。
Don't follow. Please elaborate.
っていくら好きな人と一緒だからって軍隊の真似事みたいなことやらされて喜ぶ女の子がいると思う？
Probably not that many, now that you mention it.
だったら普通に買い物したり映画を見たりした方が絶対いいじゃん。
I get your point, but Sachi did make the request.
それでももう少し気を利かせてあげてもいいと思うけど。
In other words, in between drills, bend down and whisper loving words in her ear, something like that. Yuuji.
そうじゃなくて、ユージなら読書もよくしてるんだから、図書館で読書とかでもよかったんじゃない？
True enough. That sounds a bit more like a date.
ちなみに聞きたいんだけど、この後はどんな予定になってたの？
Probably a hike, like a 30-kilometer hike. Well, a round trip over one rope bridge, followed by a rope climbing session. Probably would have finished things off with a 10-mile rifle run. She's going to hit you. Amane has kept her cool until now, but my latest response is followed by some violent tremblings on her part. Something wrong? Need a bathroom break? Don't let me keep you. She's gonna hit us.
ユージ、ちょっと来なさい！
Suddenly exploding with anger, Amane grabs my hand and starts yanking me fiercely along. She very much sounded like Subika there. I swear, this line.
ユージ、ちょっと来なさい！
I swear I've heard almost that exact line with Kotaru. Hold on, what are you trying to...
いいから、つべこべ言わずについてくる！
Yeah, I get the message, but we can't just leave Sachi training.
ごめん、さっちゃん。ユージのことを少し借りるから、ちょっとだけ待っててね。
Oh, she was still going.
それと、返事は普通に戻していいから。
わかりました。
Oh, poor Sachi.
ついにアマネが切れてるのさ。
マキちゃん、何食べてるの？
アマネが作った乳糖ドーナツ。たくさんあるから、サッチも食べるといいのよ。
Oh, don't say that. She's gonna make herself sick.
ありがとう。で、豆乳ドーナツだよね。
で、ずいぶん落ち着いてるみたいだけど、彼氏が連れてかれちゃっても平気なのよ。
あまねさん、何か用事があるみたいだし、仕方ないよ。
そんなこと言って、アマネの用事がお兄ちゃんを食べちゃうことだったらどうするのよ。
食べるとしたら、やっぱりもも肉とかかな。
Okay.
マキちゃんだったら、ゆうくんはどこが美味しいと思う？
She's like, oh, you summer child.
やっぱサッチンはすげえな。
After a rough march to the rooftop, I'm forced to sit on my heels under Amane's withering gaze of scorn.
こうして正座してもらってるのは、ユージに反省してもらうためだからね。
I did understand that much, yes. You're basically saying the squat jumping is an important choice of an inappropriate choice of first date, right?
っていうか、軍隊みたいな訓練全部いくらユージが変わり者だからって、さすがに限度があるわよ。
That's probably fair. Maybe you're right, but Sachi seemed to be enjoying it in a way, didn't she?
それはさっちゃんが涙が出るくらいいい子だからであって、ステーキが大好きだけど卵かけご飯も食べられますっていうのと同じ原理よ。
I see. Nice analogy, I get it now.
それにユージならもっと女の子が喜びそうなところだって連れて行けたでしょ。
Well, I was considering inviting her to a meal at first, I guess.
やっぱりね。
See, deep down he kind of gets it, but then I think one of the things I keep forgetting is that he's a bit almost as broken as Sachi is in a way. Like, maybe he's a little more coherent, but that's probably just because he spent so much time around military people who were normal people, and he's kind of learned to base himself off of the patterns that he witnessed there. But like, it's almost like he looks at his drill sergeants like they actually had some kind of level of affection for him. In a way, they probably did, but like, not even remotely close. But he doesn't see that. Oh my gosh, watching these two dates gonna be like, it's gonna be something else.
それならなおさら、あんなデートになる意味がわからないわよ。
Amane glowers down at me, her eyes narrowed in an expression of transparent vexation. Among other things, this whole date idea was her suggestion. Seems to truly and earnestly upset her that it didn't go well. You have a point. I might have been taking advantage of Sachi's tolerant nature on this one. As for someone who understands how Sachi's mind works and why, that's fundamentally wrong, even when it comes to something as small as this.
ここからは本当に真剣な話なんだけど、ユージはさっちゃんがこの学園にいる理由を知ったんでしょ？
Interesting. As she delivers the question in a slightly lowered tone of voice, Amane's eyes bore searchingly into mine. What makes you say that?
とぼけても無駄。いくらさっちゃんが幼馴染だったからって何の理由もなくユージが付き合うことにしたなんて言い出すはずないもの。
She's very good at this. Amane declares this without so much as a moment's hesitation. There's a flat, matter-of-fact certainty to her voice. In other words, this woman is absolutely confident that she understands me. Guess there's no point pretending then.
やっぱりそうなんだ。
Yeah, I know about the incident that brought Sachi to the school, and I know about the trauma at the root of it all. On this basis of that knowledge, I thought long and hard about what I could do for Sachi as she is today, and ultimately I decided becoming a couple would be the essential step in that process.
言ってることはわかるけど、それは本当に必要なことだったの？
Getting halfway involved isn't going to cut it. The law Sachi imposed on herself is too brittle and too dangerous for that. You all saw for yourself what can happen with those shackles binding her so tightly, don't you? Amane gently closes her eyes and holds her silence for a long moment.
じゃあ、最後に一つ聞かせてほしいんだけど、何かしてあげたいって思ったのは、 ユージがさっちゃんのことを好きになったから？
I don't know if he knows. And when her eyes open again, they communicate a serious warning. Don't even think about trying to dodge the question. To be completely honest, I don't really know whether I love Sachi or not. But I do know that I was drawn to her, or something she has that I don't, and I was completely serious about choosing her. I shut my eyes and honestly put my feelings into the clearest words I can. After a moment, I hear Amane sigh softly.
そっか。正直に答えてくれてありがとう。
Amane's always approaching me with straightforward affection and kindness. In retrospect, I probably should have done her the courtesy of making this equally clear from the start. Alright, mind if I ask you a question of my own?
いいけど、どんなこと？
What is Sachi to you, Amane?
もちろん、大切な友達に決まってるじゃない。
Aww. Once more, her response comes without a moment's hesitation. A friend, huh?
だって、さっちゃんはすごくいい子だし、さっちゃんがいてくれて助かったことも、楽しかったことも、たくさんあるもの。だから、私以外の誰に同じ質問をしても、絶対同じ答えが返ってくるって、私は思ってるけど。
That's not too bad. As she says those words, there's an almost proud smile on Amane's face. Anyone who saw that expression would instantly know those words aren't merely polite flattery. Good to hear. I'm all the more convinced now. Mumbling more to myself than Amane, I finally ease off my heels, flopping down cross-legged onto the warm concrete.
それってどういうこと？
Well, to put it simply, right now I think Sachi needs people like you more than anything else in the world.
ごめん。ユージの言ってることがよくわからないんだけど。
You're not going to break it off now because you think that she's better off without. What? Well, that's all right. The more convenient for me that way.
何よそれ。それじゃあ私が納得できないってば。
Alright then, it's nothing complicated. Since you called Sachi your friend, Amane, I want to ask you a little favor on her behalf.
頼み？
That's right. If you really care about Sachi, I want you to keep treating her exactly as you have until now.
今までと同じって、そんな普通のことでいいの？
I don't think anyone in this place, myself included, has had nearly enough of that sort of ordinary in their lives. I'm not trying to say it's as simple as that, but what Sachi needs right now is to realize what she has. My answer is purposeful, a bit on the opaque side, not exactly the concrete explanation of my plans Amane was clearly looking for. But without a single complaint, she quietly searches for the meaning in those words of her own.
わかった。そうすることで私も何かを手伝えるって言うなら、
So,
ユージの言う通りにする。
I think what he's trying to say and implying here is I'm going to be shaking things up with her. And while it's good, it's going to be very likely uncomfortable. So having a foundation of friends that still treat her the same regardless is going to be a pretty important aspect, because even when you're changing and experiencing something new, having a solid foundation that's like that you can trust, that you have confidence in, that's what makes like a big, like that provides stability that can be really important to change.
でもそれはユージに言われたからとかじゃなくて、さっちゃんの友達として当然のことなんだからね。
That works for me. Yeah, thank you, Amane.
ユージってそんなに素直にお礼が言えるんだ。
You say something?
なんでもない。
Alright.
それとさ、ユージは気づいてないかもしれないけど、さっちゃんと一緒にいる時のユージ、笑ってることが多くなったよ。
He smiles? What? What?
ユージのことをずっと見てきた私が言うんだから間違いないって。
Putting her hand on her hip as she speaks, Amane flashes me a smile that's just a little too spirited to be fully convincing. Amane.
じゃあ、ユージへのお説教タイムはここらで終わりにするとして、頼み事をされた私の方からも、ユージに一つだけお願い事。
Yes, ma'am? And what would that be?
私を振って別の女の子を選んだからには、さっちゃんのこと、ちゃんと幸せにしてあげてよね。
These are the moments that make me kind of regret that we didn't do Amane. She's genuinely such a good person. It's kind of terrifying. With a little wink, Amane promptly turns on her heel and leaves the rooftop. Look at me, getting the full kid glove treatment for the woman. Amane's got a lot more delicacy than you'd guess. And while I don't want to suggest her gender and gives her some universal insight into the female mind, she's taught me a lot of things as a role of unofficial ambassador of young women. I smile more often when I'm with Sachi, huh? I hadn't even been aware, but maybe the reason I chose Sachi had something to do with that as well. I mean, that's why I liked Michiru, like as a character. Every time she was there, even if it was silly and dumb and people were making fun of her, like every time she was on the screen, it made me smile. That's why I was immediately like, I want to go down the Michiru route. Like that's what sold me on it. So maybe that's why for Yuuji, Sachi works for him. Either way, I've already found myself indebted to my classmates' insight and kindness. For once, it seems Chizuru's advice might have been genuinely worth listening to. Alright, well, that date went well, or are we continuing it? On a summer morning already hot enough to inspire full-throated chirping from the cicadas, Sachi silently devotes herself to her self-imposed duties, dressed as always in her long-sleeved maid uniform. That's sad. I was hoping we'd get more of that date. That date was literally nothing. But, oh well. Also, funny enough, talking about cicadas, I was cleaning the outside of our house and I found one of those like cicada exoskeletons just sitting like on our air conditioner, which is an interesting place for them to decide to do that. What are you doing? And I, watching over her from afar, busying myself braiding the hair of a deranged cave gremlin. Oh, okay. Object all you want, but I've been hearing some distinctly goblin-esque grunting from your direction for a while now. Seems Michiru and I are the same species in that regard. I do think like massages, they're cool, they're nice. Pedicure, manicure, oddly, they are actually very refreshing and feel really great. But there's nothing better than somebody running their hand through your hair. Oh, it's the best. It's the best feeling in the world. So you're emitting bizarre noises at random intervals without conscious intent. Ever been tested for Tourette syndrome? Well, if you say so. No worries on that front. We've got dates scheduled after this. She's so bitter. Michiru fans herself vigorously with one hand, her face contorted an expression I haven't seen since the time she mistook lukewarm leftover soup for barley tea and guzzled it all down. Sachi and I arranged the date in question yesterday, shortly after my little pep talk from Amane. Returning to the athletic grounds, I found Sachi still maintaining a quiet, respectable standby approach, nibbling from a box of soy milk donuts with Makina at her side. I apologize for my lack of consideration, fully expecting Sachi's standard I don't mind in the least in reply. But in somewhat unusual turn of events, she instead asks, in that case, what shall we do for the rest of the date? And so, after a brief discussion, we've decided to wipe the slate clean of our half-butted first date, give it a fresh start on the next day. Okay, alright, we're done. I give Michiru a light thump on the shoulder as a signal the completion of her twin-tailed tying request. Standing from the bench she'd been lounging on, Michiru stands up and examines my work with her own hands. Well, I have seen her do this once or twice, so I had an example to work off. Probably. Interesting. Is this one of her made-up songs? If so, that subject line. But it sounds more like an existent one. As we were chatting, I noticed Sachi's actually singing a relatively normal song as she works, something of a first. Really? Aw, that's cute. Not a fact. Maybe it's the song that her mom sang. They might be relatively loose orders, but Makina did ask Sachi to warble her ludicrous tunes. In other words, Sachi must be attached to this song to the point where she can occasionally override her standard system of prioritization. She has some specific affection for that song.
さあ、そこまでは知らないけど、気になるなら直接本人に聞いてみたらいいんじゃない？
Fair? I can't honestly say I'm not curious, but I suppose the important thing is knowing what it means about to her mood. Prying into her exact details could be counterproductive.
それと、私が頼みたかった用事はもうなくなったから、あとはサチとイチャイチャしてくれていいわよ。
Appreciate it. To demonstrate my gratitude, I'll let you watch.
ちょっ
Hey, Sachi, have a second?
お呼びでしょうか、ご主人様。
Master, what? Look at that face. Oh, it's like an angry chipmunk. Sachi trots right over when I call out her name, offering a greeting that inspires a truly spectacular grimace from Michiru. You're looking a little pale in the face there, Michiru, my friend. Now just realize you now forgot to eat breakfast?
朝ごはんならちゃんと食べたわよ。サチが作ってくれたハニートーストです。っていうかあんた、サチにご主人様とか呼ばせてるわけ？
No, I don't recall forcing her to do that or giving any indication I wanted her to.
となると。
はい、私なりに気を使ってみました。
そっか。なんていうか、ユージも大変よね。
I'll be fine. You hang in there yourself, alright? It's always darkest before the dawn.
ありがとう。って慰めたつもりが慰められてる。
As Michiru rides in frustration and confusion, Sachi smiles brightly and consciously leans her head in my direction. The gesture is a pretty blatant request for another one of those petting sessions, but unfortunately, while your intentions were good, that wasn't quite worthy of a pat on the head.
そうですか。
In typical fashion, Sachi offers no complaints or objection despite this obviously disappointing result. But judging from the way she proactively presented herself for attention, Michiru's assessment of her mood seems to be relatively accurate. So, how far have you gotten with the courtyard?
今日の範囲が終わったので、明日の分に突入しようとしていたところです。
In that case, I'd like to get going before this heat gets any worse. But before I can finish the thought, there's a distinctive sound of a certain engine drawing near. A sound that can only mean one thing. Oh no.
あれ、この音って。
Guess she's here.
みたいですね。
ユージー、
Oh
久しぶり。
boy. Now, are you about to call us on work? Because if so, I've got words. We're about to go on a date. After saying goodbye to Michiru, who apparently finds encountering genuine blonde somewhat distressing, Sachi and I make our way to the front gate. JB's leaning against her flashy sports car, waving in our direction. Look, didn't I tell you to give me advance warning of your visits?
今日はたまたま仕事の用事で近くを通ったから、ちょっと顔を見ていこうと思っただけよ。
Looks like you're done. Bye.
もう相変わらずレディに対して冷たいわね。サチは大丈夫？ユージに冷たくされたりしてない？
はい、昨日もユウくんと2人でたくさん汗を流しました。
Oh, Sachi.
ユージから付き合うことになったって報告を受けてからまだ1週間も経っていないけど。
She's like genuinely distressed.
もうそんなことになっているの？
Yeah. Just to make things perfectly clear, Sachi's referring to training, physical exercise, that sort of hot and sweaty.
そうよね。お姉さんちょっとびっくりしちゃった。
That's my girlfriend for you, just full of surprises.
なるほどね。
But anyway, since when were you two this friendly?
そうそう。ここまで来るのも結構大変だったのよ。初めてサチに会った時なんか、ほうきを竹槍のように構えられて、せいやーって威嚇されたんだから。
Was she seeing you as a rival? That's hilarious.
あの時はハルデラさんが不審者に見えてしまったも
Oh,
の
it
で、
must have been like a while ago.
本当にすみませんでした。
That sounds like it would have been really funny to see. I wish we could see that.
もう謝らなくてもいいのよ。今はユージがお世話になってるんだし。
The smile on JB's face bears a striking resemblance to Amane's up to no good expression. When women smirk like this, my experience suggests the events are about to take a markedly irritating turn.
それでどう？学生の恋愛ってくらいには青春してるの？
Are you seriously asking me that? What are you, some gossipy old lady from across the street?
あら、
私はユージの保護者なんだから、そっちの状況も把握しておくのは当然じゃない。
I already gave you what you absolutely needed to know, didn't I? See no reason to volunteer more.
じゃあいいわ。代わりにサチに聞いちゃうから。
With a great show of pouty silkiness, JB pulls Sachi away from my side and wraps an arm around her shoulders.
ねえサチ、お姉さんにこっそり教えてほしいんだけど、もうユージとはキスしたの？
Look, you...
幼い頃に頬へのチューはしたことがあるのですが、付き合い始めてからはまだになります。
じゃあもしかしてまだ手もつないでいなかったり？
はい、他にもハグや甘噛みといった恋人らしい行為には及んでいません。
Sure, of course she puts the play biting there.
甘噛みが恋人らしいかどうかは検討の余地があるとして、まだ手もつないでないってことは相当大事にされてるわね。
そうなのでしょうか。
そうよ、ユージなんて隙を見せたらすぐにガオーって襲ってくるんだから。
I don't like where this conversation's going, JB.
もしそうだとしたら少し意外です。
Stop feeding her lies, woman.
ほら、嘘じゃないでしょ。
そうなんですか、ゆうくん。
As she speaks, Sachi stares up at me with eyes clear and bright as glass beads. All I'm going to say is this. When JB starts talking like a transvestite magician, you really shouldn't take anything she says too seriously.
はい、わかりました。
サチの返事はこう聞いてる方が心配になってくるくらい素直な返事ね。
Yeah, welcome to our life. Well, you could say that's one of her good points.
そうだったわね。でもサチのおかげであなたたちが清い交際をしていることは分かったわ。
So you're satisfied now, right? Better get back before the brass starts squawking.
もう隙があればすぐに追い返したがるんだから。
When you have an actual reason to visit, I don't think I treat you unkindly.
それならあさってあたりに仕事が入りそうだから予定は空けておくようにね。
Oh, it's nice to actually have heads up. If that was the point of this visit, she sure took her time getting around to mentioning it. Alright, send me the details when you can.
もちろん。じゃ、あんまり二人の仲を邪魔しても悪いし、私はそろそろ職場に戻るわね。
With an exaggerated wink, JB slips into the driver's seat of her prancing horse.
それからサチ？
なんでしょう。
ユージは寝相が悪いから、一緒のベッドで寝るときは気をつけた方がいいわよ。
Why would you say that?
はい、わかりました。
それじゃあ二人とも、またねー。
After teasing us one final time, JB rolls up her window and speeds off in a shrill burst of sound pollution. Okay, just to be clear, I don't toss or turn in my sleep.
確かに、ゆうくんは立ったまま寝ていそうなイメージでした。
Yeah, I agree. That's a bit over the top, but anyway, do you finally understand not to take that woman in her word?
でも、ゆうくんのことを心配して顔を出してくれたんですから、誠実な人なのではないでしょうか。
Not by your definition. Maybe, if she could resist the impulse to screw around like that.
なるほどです。
More importantly, about the date.
今日はゆうくんがデートのプランを考えてくれるんですよね。
Yeah, thought we'd go for a walk around some stores.
買い物ですか？
Right, window shopping as they call it.
つまり、ゆうくんは窓が欲しかったんですね。
That's the best Sachi answer to that. Pretty decent. Try that one on a veteran Marine who's gotten thoroughly sick of constantly flooding around in iron tubes and you'll probably get a drunken roar of laughter.
冗談を言ったつもりはないのですが。
I love that answer. Right, keep forgetting she's a natural at this. Anyway, I did take my best stab at thinking up an appropriate first day here. The shopping plan alright by you?
はい。ゆうくんとのお買い物デート、とても楽しみです。
Good. In that case, let's make our preparations and meet up here in 10.
はい、わかりました。
Not even glancing at the store windows in her left or right, Sachi shuffles silently forward, completely lost in her own little world. We came straight for the shopping area around the station as we planned, but Sachi's mood appears to have taken a dramatic turn of some sort in the course of the last 15 minutes. As a little experiment, I try stopping quietly in my tracks, completely oblivious. Sachi continues to walk briskly down the sidewalk. Hey, Sachi.
すみません。私今ぼーっとしていました。
Wonder why. Can you tell us what's on your mind? Like, I always want to ask you, like, what have you been thinking about? Don't see that every day. Something on your mind?
そのゆうくんとハルデラさんのことを考えていました。
Interesting. So it does bother her. Me and JB.
はい。
Not to repeat myself, but if there's something on your mind, you can go ahead and say it.
それが私も何をゆうくんに聞きたいのかがよくわかりません。
I'm guessing it's feelings of jealousy because JB blatantly made it sound like they'd like slept together before, that they were in a previous relationship. Like when she says things like, I'm handing him out, trusting him to you, and he tosses and turns when he sleeps. Like, I think it was jokes. I hope so anyway. Please let that be just jokes. But, regardless, like, Sachi probably took them seriously and internalized them. And although she didn't immediately react like most people would, she takes everything at face value, so she's probably been stewing about it. The heck? Sachi's explanation is so amazingly unhelpful that I reflexively respond a little curtly. Sorry, can you try and go into a little more detail?
学園を出たあたりから仲良くしているゆうくんとハルデラさんの映像が私の頭の中に浮かんできたのですが、
It's actually horrifically sweet that she's actually jealous.
そのことを考えていると、マキちゃんにサッチンはインランメイドなのよさと言われた時のような気持ちになって。
I see. Based on what I can infer from that explanation, it's simple jealousy. And although I have feelings obviously the result of JV's malicious little pranks, Sachi probably isn't capable of recognizing either the cause or effect of what they are. Alright, I've got some advice for you on this one, Sachi.
どんなことでしょうか。
File those feelings away and make sure you don't forget them, but for the moment, try not to let them bother you too much.
ゆうくんはとても難しいことを言うんですね。
I feel like the audio clipped there, so apologies for that. I don't know what that was about. It's pretty simple, actually. Just empty your head for now.
もしそうだとしたら、どうして今は忘れた方がいいんでしょう。
Because you'll be able to enjoy the date that way.
なるほど。単純明快な上になぜかものすごい説得力です。
Feeling any better?
はい。ゆうくんのおかげで喉に刺さっていた担当が取れた思いです。
It's a different idiom. That a fact. The girl can lay the hyperboles on a little thick at times, but it sounds like this really was a load off her mind. And then, in any case, it's encouraging to see Sachi starting to puzzle over things she didn't understand.
では最初にゆうくんが欲しいものを見て回りましょう。
Something I want.
はい、私の方は特に購入を考えているものはありませんから。
The only thing I really want, really comes to mind on spur of the moment is books. But even there, I'm doing alright with Sakaki's leftovers for the time being. Everything necessary for my job at Ichigaya has provisions for me from the company's stock and government supply goods. I can think of anything I urgently need to get my hands on at the moment. Well, if I really stretch things a bit, there's a new scope they're making overseas that I've been wanting to try out, I guess.
それは困りました。海外への渡航にはパスポートが必要になるので、申請に時間がかかってしまいます。
I recently got mine because I'm feeling better. My dream of travel is beginning to be unearthed once again, and I got it because I really hope in the next 10 years, because that's how long it takes to expire, that within the next 10 years I'll be able to go to freaking Japan. I also want to just go to Canada, which would be a lot easier. It's a long drive, but it's a lot easier and more manageable. In other words, if the prep time wasn't an issue, the girl wouldn't hesitate to launch an international expedition as part of a casual shopping trip. She's an amazing creature. As I try to come up with something else I'm interested in buying, I casually glance over at Sachi, walking quietly at my side in full maid uniform. No matter how accustomed she is to that thing, it's downright mind-boggling she can wear that heavy, multi-layered outfit in this heat without shedding even a drop of sweat.
ゆうくん、もしかして今俺が欲しいのは小峰幸の体だ。うえへへ。目で合図を送りましたか？
No, you did not.
そうですか。
That is so. That said, she's not entirely off base, since my idea does concern her body. Alright, how about I buy you some clothes to complement that body of yours?
私の服ですか？
Yeah, I had this thought earlier, but wearing a long sleeve maid uniform in this dog days of summer isn't really the spirit of things.
それなら夏場用のトロピカルが。
Right, sure. I'm willing to bet it's still got long sleeves.
はい、長い野戦の間マラリア原虫を媒介しようとする蚊から身を守るために必要不可欠な機能になりますので。
That's true, but they do say good 2/3 of the troops battling over New Guinea ended up afflicted with malaria, but at present I'm fairly sure the Anopheles minimus mosquitoes capable of spreading the disease can't be found anywhere in Japan other than small regions of Okinawa.
他にも亜熱帯地方では。
Okay, whatever. For now, let's just take a look at that store over there. Come on.
こんなに買ってもらっていいのでしょうか。
It's for you, Sachi. As we leave the store, Sachi poses an anxious question, glancing down at the shopping bags dragging from both her hands. All well and good that I decided to buy her clothes, but even my avaricious reading habits have never extended to female-oriented fashion magazines. I was largely clueless on this one. For lack of a better plan, I ended up indiscriminately buying everything recommended by a salesman who spoke something just barely qualifying as Japanese. According to JB, women can never have too many clothes.
それはみちる様もよくおっしゃっていますが、私は全くお金を払っていないので、これをいただくのはとても悪い気がします。
No, it's a gift. Gifts are meant to be enjoyed. No need to worry about that. Fortunately, I've got a part-time job, so buying a few presents for my girlfriend isn't anything out of the ordinary.
それはそうなのですが。
Personally speaking, I consider buying you clothes money well spent. If you're saying you don't want them, feel free to use them as rags when you're cleaning. I won't hold it against you.
それは絶対にありません。雑巾にするくらいなら腹巻きにしてでも身につけます。
That's very cute. Oh my gosh. Sachi is the queen of cute. Then I guess there's no problem. In that case, why don't we wear these clothes every once in a while? To the degree that it doesn't interfere with the pre-existing requests about your maid uniform.
それもなかなか難しい注文です。
No, it's pretty simple. Why don't you just wear them when you feel like wearing them?
私が着たいと思った時に着ればいい。
Repeating my words like a parrot, Sachi closes her eyes in thought. She's trying to reconcile it. In relation to my final objective, giving her these presents is something of a test, but it's also genuinely true that I want to see Sachi in normal clothes for once. I kinda want to as well. Alright, next I guess we can wander around for a while. I take a step forward, but Sachi doesn't budge.
ゆうくん。ありがとう。
Oh, to this heart.
ありがとう、ゆうくん。
When Sachi speaks those plain words, my memory flashes before my eyes. Thank you. Apart from my family, Sachi was the one and only person in my claustrophobic little world who said those words to me on a regular basis. For Sachi, it might well have been nothing but a simple expression of gratitude for the praise I lavished on her. But for me, every thank you offered me heartwarming relief from the feelings of inferiority and worthlessness that otherwise defined that period of my life. Maybe it was just a childhood misconception on my part, a groundless, self-centered delusion, but it felt as though she was telling me, you're all right as you are. It's all right for you to be here. Yeah. Oh, look at that. That's what looks like a genuine Sachi smile right there. Look at that. And watching Sachi answer my curt grunt of acknowledgement with a happy smile, I realized that whatever else has changed over the years, that feeling still is the same. The warmth still rises to the surface. Even in that alone, I think Sachi's a special presence in my life. Fetch me. All right, Sachi, let's get going.
Hi.
Hold her hand. Glad we managed to find something that caught your interest as well.
はい、みちる様にぴったりなサメさんのリボンも見つかって大満足です。
We wandered aimlessly through a few other stores until we stumbled across an item in question. Her prize in hand, Sachi smiles triumphantly to me as we leave the shop. So, what, is that thing made from shark skin?
いえ、素材の方ではなく、こうして輪を作った時にサメさんが大口を開けているように見えるデザインらしいのですが。
Kinda want to see that. I can't really picture it in my head how that works.
ハート型に似た歯の形状からモチーフになっているサメさんがホウジロザメではなくイタチザメであることが判別できるあたり、匠のこだわりを感じさせます。
That's so. If Michi is really looking to complement the sharky pouch of hers with a sort of realistic natural design, she's a fairly inconsistent fashion sense. Well, now that we both bought something, I guess it's about time we headed back to the dorm.
そうですね。
But when I change the subject, Sachi's response is somewhat distracted. She's turned her head slightly to one side. I follow her gaze to a bus stop bench where a man's laying down with his head on his girlfriend's lap.
なあ、これってやっぱ恥ずかしくねえか？
そこがいいじゃん。
There's a good bit of distance between us, so I can't hear the conversation that well. But the atmosphere over there seems pretty nice. From all the appearances, they're a couple at the height of the honeymoon phase. When I look back, Sachi's still boring holes into the pair with her eyes. After JB suggested pestering this morning, she may well develop some curiosity about this sort of physical romantic action. Hold her hand, hold her hand, hold her hand. Something on your mind?
いえ、少しバス停の方を眺めていただけですから。
If you say so. Judging from that oddly vague answer, it seems she doesn't want me to know she was looking at the couple in particular. Okay, let's head back.
はい、そうしましょう。
Come on, man. By the time we reach the campus, Sachi's got her head completely in the clouds again. This would be the second time in the last few hours. Considering she's normally alert enough to cover running when someone calls her name, this is definitely an unusual state of affairs.
膝枕、抱き枕に氷枕。
Why is she pillow? Okay. Ah, so that's it. Although she's actually a little worrisome that she's this transparent, this time she's clearly just gotten herself caught up in the lap pillow concept. Hey, Sachi.
はい、なんでしょう。
Want me to guess what you're thinking about right now?
それは何かの勝負のお誘いでしょうか。
No, nothing like that. I'm just pretty sure I know what's on your mind at the moment. Want to see if I'm on the money?
それが本当だとしたらすごいです。ぜひ当ててみてください。
Alright, I'll get straight to the answer. Sachi, you're currently thinking about trying out the classic lap pillow maneuver, yes? Yeah, aw, that was cute. Judging from that goofy little yelp, she genuinely wasn't expecting this answer. Can I take that to mean I'm correct?
はい。何のヒントも出していない状態での大正解に心臓のバクバクが止まりません。
No hints, huh?
以前にもゆうくんはエスパーなのではないかと疑ったことがありますが、今回は特にすごいです。
She's so silly. Actually, in this case, I'm pretty sure anyone with a functioning set of ears could have produced the same supernatural insight.
つまりゆうくんの手にかかれば私は常に丸裸ということになってしまいます。
Interesting way to say that. Considering how sordidly you make that sound, you make it remarkably calm.
そんなことはありません。こう見えて心はドキドキです。
Lub dubbing is never lub dubbed before. There's a quote for the ages too. Man, this is just a gold episode. Okay then, why don't we step to that lub dubbing up a notch?
ドキドキドキですか？
Can't say exactly how many extra dubs we get, but since you're interested, I'm officially proposing we give this lap pillow thing a try. Conveniently enough, there's a setting ideal for the purpose close at hand. I point to one of the benches that dot the courtyard, sitting in the shade of the tall tree.
確かにベンチはありますが。
Yeah? All these bags end up being slightly heavier than expected, so it'd be nice to rest my arms a little as well. Of course, my arms aren't even the slightest sore. The dorm's right in front of us, but no need to mention that.
そうですね。あまり無理をさせるのは良くないですし、休
Aww.
憩ということでしたら。
Alright, sounds like the matter's decided. I pull Sachi over to the bench and settle down in the classic lap pillow pose as previously demonstrated by the couple in town.
本当に膝枕もするのでしょうか？
I mean, didn't you want to try? Yeah, ignorant as I may be about these matters, I do think the basic theory behind the lap pillow, leave the rest to me. Alright, success. Aww. That's not what I was expecting. I thought it was gonna be on her lap, but I actually love this. This is even better. Aww, it's so freaking cute. Oh, my soul, it can't take the cuteness. Sachi's face stares up at from my lap, frozen with all the meek anxiety of a terrified kitten. Well, what are your impressions now that you're experiencing the real deal?
ゆうくんの膝は硬すぎず、それでいて柔らかすぎず、まさに絶妙の枕加減なのですが。
Aww.
ごく一般的な膝枕というのは女性の方が男性の頭を膝の上に乗せるものなのではないでしょうか。
Now that you mention it, the man was the one lying down at the bus stop, wasn't he?
なのでこの膝枕はどちらかというと少し特殊な部類に入ると思われます。
My experience, personally, has been that it's a free market. You trade as much as you want. I didn't even consider which of us should be the pillow and which the pillowed. Well, if you want to take the opposite role, we can switch.
そうですね。せっかくのお言葉なのですが、それはやめておきます。
You sure about that?
よく考えたら、ゆうくんが枕役をやるというのもこれっきりかもしれないですから。
I don't think so. There's a good chance you can do this again whenever you want. I see. Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way.
はい。
The moment Sachi offers that brief response, a gentle gust of wind rolls through the shaded courtyard. A lingering breeze, not so strong to be irritating, but enough to bring a pleasant cool.
風が気持ちいいですね。
There's our thumbnail! Look at that! That it does.
セミさんも泣き始めました。
Yeah.
ゆうくんの顔がすぐそばにあります。
If it was behind your eyes, we'd have a problem. Yuuji!
そうですね。
She puts her feelings into words as they come to her. I offer brief, meaningless responses. At some point in this trivial little exchange, a smile spreads across Sachi's face, and I begin to feel a sort of simple tranquility that comes with cradling a purring cat on your lap. Hey, Sachi. You enjoyed the date today?
はい、とても楽しかったです。
No hesitation.
もちろん即答です。だって実際に楽しかったですから。
Pat her head! Even though we just wandered around by the station?
はい。ゆうくんと一緒にたくさんお店を回れた上に、可愛い服まで買っていただきました。
Well, I'm glad you had fun, but you really are easy to please, aren't you?
実際のところはそうでもないかもしれませんよ。
I think she's probably saying, like, I think if anyone else had done all this, it wouldn't have been that fun. It's because it was you. Oh? Elaborate.
だって今はこうして彼氏さんに枕役をやらせているんですから。
So you are. True enough, if someone saw this little scene out of the context, they'd probably get the impression that Sachi's wearing the pants in this relationship. Well, since you've had that rare opportunity handed to you, how about you relax and savor it for a while?
はい、ありがとうございます。
As she speaks, Sachi lets out the tension drain out of her body, and I feel a little more weight settle into my lap. She was holding herself tense that whole time. Feels almost like the physical manifestation of her absolute trust. I've shouldered many burdens on the job, and none were quite this relaxing to bear. If you feel like it, you can go ahead and take a nap.
それはとても魅力的な提案なのですが、ドキドキして眠れそうにありません。
I like how they're translating Doki Doki to love dubbing. Like, I think it's a cute translation, though Doki Doki definitely has a better appeal. Like, just sounds better. Love dubbing just sounds weird. In that case, just close your eyes and take it easy. Apparently that alone's about 80% as effective as actual sleep. I will testify to that. I agree, like, when you're in a crunch and you just need a break, just laying down, closing your eyes, and just trying to relax, even if you don't fall asleep, can really feel like taking a nap.
そんなことまで知ってるなんて、ゆうくんは本当にすごいです。
Look, I'm sure I've told you this before. The people who really deserve praise are the scientists who ran the studies, not the guys who read about them in some books.
それでも、その内容を覚えていたのはゆうくんです。
You really aren't going to budge on this, are you?
はい、どうしてもそうなります。
Aww. And she seems to be very pleased about it for some reason. This habit of overestimating me to the point of veneration is one part of Sachi that doesn't seem to be changing. Walking down the street, chatting with you, romantic interest, going shopping together, brushing against their warmth, and ultimately offering them your lap as a pillow, putting aside for the moment whether it's supposed to be the other way around. Who freaking cares? This is a wonderful thing. I remember seeing this sort of innocent flirting between couples in manga and television shows as a kid. But I hadn't imagined the day might come where I'd actually be experiencing something of that sort. And in fact, I almost certainly never would have if it weren't for Sachi. I was able to experience this tranquil feeling because of her, because I met her as a kid, because we were reunited here, because she agreed to date me. This unlikely moment came to pass. Thanks, Sachi. She actually fell asleep. She must be so tired. When the words spill naturally from my mouth, I'm answered by nothing but the sound of a carefree young woman sawing logs. Thought you weren't sleepy, punk. That didn't take long considering. But then again, seeing Sachi like this, the way her lively excitement gave way to this abrupt nap. The keen, almost painful reminder of the tomboyish, unpredictable girl she used to be.
そこにいるのは風見くんよね。
Shh. When I raise my head in response to this tentative inquiry, I see Sakaki standing in the shade nearby, a paperback book in hand. Hey there, Sakaki. Back from sharing your complaints regarding our profane world to our local crow?
人を魔女のように言わないでもらえるか。
Sorry, just a little joke.
機嫌がいいのは結構だけれど、そこで寝ているのは小峰さんよね。
Yeah, momentum from the shopping date ended up carrying us in a slightly weird direction. Decided to try out the lap pillow thing.
それは見ればわかるけど、これはとても珍しい光景ね。
Tell me about it. As soon as the words are out of Sakaki's mouth, she's leaning quietly forward, peering down at us with an expression of evident curiosity. Guess the man's being the pillow is pretty unusual after all, huh?
ああ、いや、そういう意味ではなくて、私は小峰さんが眠っているってことに驚いているのよ。
I imagine she doesn't sleep much. What's that supposed to mean?
私はこれまでに小峰さんが居眠りをしているところを見たことがなかったから。
Another unbroken streak of hers, is it?
ええ。と言っても、もちろん夜になれば自室のベッドで休んでいるのは知っているけれど。
She's talking about a nap.
こうしてうたた寝をしている小峰さんを見るのは初めてね。
That a fact?
ええ。だから意外だったのよ。
Makes sense. Yet another sign of how strictly Sachi governs her own behavior. Aww.
それにしても気持ちよさそうな寝顔をしているわね。
Well, we did spend a good while wandering around the stores this afternoon. She's probably a little tired.
それくらいでは小峰さんは居眠りしないと思うわよ。
True. It's the fact that in this situation, like with the relaxing of her tension, she, for like one of the few times in her whole life in the past like probably decade, she actually let go for a bit. She just relaxed. Wait a minute though. Normally when she sleeps, she's been having those nightmares, right? If she can sleep soundly when she's around Yuuji, that's actually huge. That's huge. Then what did?
よほどあなたの膝の上が気持ちよかったんでしょうね。
Yeah. Sakagi smiles gently at her own joke, fairly uncommon, both the smile and the fact that she made the joke in the first place. That's true, we don't see a smile on Sakaki very much. Oh, you interested? How about giving it a try yourself? When I offer a little light teasing as payback, Sakaki's face instantly goes red. Of course, you'll have to get Sachi's permission first, but...
それは
絶対にダメです。
Oh, fetch! At the sudden angry shout from my lap, Sakaki scrambles a few feet backward, completely flustered.
もしかして起きていたの？
I wonder...
マグロマンはビームを使わずにその身を削るところがかっこいいんですから。
Interesting. So she's just having like a dream. That's really cute. But I also wonder, is this like the real Sachi here? Like her subconscious is allowed to express herself in her dreams? Is she not bound by her own rules in her dreams? When she's not having nightmares? No, she's pretty clearly not.
なら今のは寝言？
Yeah, seems that way.
そう。やっぱり小峰さんには底知れない恐ろしさがあるわね。
You're reading way too much into this.
まあ、周防さんや松島さんも出かけているみたいだし、邪魔者はこれで消えるわね。
With those parting words delivered in an uncharacteristically tranquil tone, Sakaki turns away and quietly makes her way back to the dorm. I'm permitted to while away my time as a human pillow for the moment, but 2 days from now, another Ichigaya job is waiting for me. That was the way of life I chose. I don't plan on trying to back out at this late in the game. The fact that that's even crossing his mind, though, is crazy. But surely no one could hold it against me if I enjoy this feeling a little longer, at least until she wakes up. You better. Beautiful. That was awesome. We're gonna stop here. But what a date! Oh, that was so cool. I'm almost jealous, actually. I wish my first dates had gone nearly that well. I was stressing out way too much for it to be that kind of relaxing and kind of just interactive moments. Except maybe there were a few exceptions to that. No. The whole like heart pounding was always I was always like in that like, I have to make this a good date. It was always very difficult. I should have just relaxed. If I could go back to it again, I would absolutely play it a lot more loose and free. Understanding that like, I don't have to make a date perfect in order for it to be a good date. And understanding also that if the person isn't having fun being around me when I'm just being me, whether things are going great or whether they're going terribly, that's kind of indicative of what a relationship needs to be anyway. Right, you want your first impressions to be good, but even then, if one bad date makes it so you never see somebody again, that's probably not worth your time anyway. Anyway. I feel well fed. Like, my soul is full. That was a really, really cute date. Genuinely wholesome on such a high functioning like tier. It's just almost mind boggling. So very happy to be ending things here for today. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend and enjoy yourselves. Thank you for being here, for joining me on this journey and being able to share this experience. I have a lot to say about the Sachi route. I'm going to save a lot of these thoughts for the finale and for like my rap party, but comparing it to the other routes so far, I have some pretty strong feelings about it so far. And we're only just beginning, so pretty good. Really interested to see what you all think of my ultimate conclusions. But we'll have to get to that some other time. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel, for being a part of the channel. If you're a patron and a member supporting me directly, I don't deserve you. I'm going to do everything I can to be worthy of your support and to use that support to try and make the channel better. Especially because I'm going to be probably transitioning into like working full time again while doing the channel. I was able to maintain that before, but we'll see how that goes. I really do strive. I'm going to strive to continue to maintain the schedule, but you know, with more demands on my time, it's going to mean that's going to be more challenging than ever before. So we'll have to see, but regardless of that, I'm still pretty excited to see where the future takes us. So hopefully you'll be sticking around for all these journeys. And thank you to anyone who's watching this currently. You know, just being here on the channel means the world to me. It means so much to a channel my size, so thank you so much. Hopefully we'll be able to continue to share these wonderful stories together, and that there'll be more fun games and stories to explore in the near future. So, hope you'll stick around. And thank you. And until next video watching me, I've seen me in next. I'll see you there.